Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Russell Matthews here, and I'm just popping in for a quick video to let you know that this upcoming Monday is your third application date for the CRB. And that's tomorrow, Monday, November 9th. If you were around for the first application date, you'll know there were a ton of problems that people faced when they were applying, but when they applied this second time, it seemed to be a lot more smooth. And now that we're heading into this third application date, here's hoping that things go even more smoothly. The CRA has implemented some new tools and some new processes that can help you out with anything related to the CRB. So in today's video, we're going to go over all of the changes that have happened for these benefits and all of the new news that has come out that's related to the benefits, just so we can get you caught up. I make videos pretty much every day, but I recognize not everybody has the time to watch every single video. So this is sort of a summary video so you can pick and choose the things that you're interested in to go take a look at it. All the links to the videos will be down in the description, and you can take a look at what the thumbnail looks like right here in case you just want to go to my channel page and click the video yourself. And if you find any of this information helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, like button, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. The first important topic that we covered over the past couple of weeks was about the CERB and how some people received an extra payment without knowing it, and now they're being sent a letter saying they have to send it back to the CRA. Now, the process for paying that money back is pretty simple. You can do it all through the CRA's website, but the one big problem with this is some people didn't recognize that they spent this $2,000 extra that they weren't entitled to receive, and now that they're being asked to pay it back, it's pretty tricky to give back money you've already spent. The CRA caught this a lot earlier for some people, so they were able to remit future payments so that they wouldn't actually have to pay anything back. But for the people that they're finding out about now, they've already paid out all of their CERB, so they can't just not pay one payment. They need you to actually send it back. So you'll want to check out this video and check out your CRA account just to make sure that you're not one of these people who has to pay back this money. They say there's about 220,000 people who need to pay back this money, so the chances that you have to pay it back are relatively low, but it's worth a check. Then we talked about a new benefit that the BC government would be bringing to residents of that province. Since the NDP won the recent election out that way, they promised as part of their campaign to send out $1,000 to a whole bunch more people who are vulnerable due to this COVID pandemic. And that's on top of another $1,000 that they received earlier during the pandemic. And we sort of compared this to the other provinces and what supports they were giving to their citizens. And it seems like BC's got a pretty good setup if you're somebody who's depending on these benefits. Where I live in Ontario, a lot of people had trouble seeing what benefits the provincial government was bringing for them because it was a far less cash in hand, cash in pocket like the BC method. Instead, Ontario's done things like reduced the electricity rates, so it's sort of like an indirect way of supporting them, but it's hard for people to recognize when that sort of thing is happening compared to actually a check in their account for $1,000. Then, and I'll just touch on this briefly because it's not 100% CRB related, we talked about the upcoming 2021 real estate crash that so many people have been talking about, and whether or not it's actually something that we think is going to happen based on a number of different factors. So if you're somebody who's been waiting to get into the market or you want to buy a house in the future, you should take a quick look at that video too. Then there was a story about somebody who got scammed out of all of their CERB money and the increase in numbers of scams since the pandemic has started. Now you're probably saying, Russell, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to get caught by one of these scams. I'm not going to get scammed. But you'd be surprised at the new, more advanced techniques that they're using involving all sorts of things like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and unique methods that make it seem very plausible that these people are who they say they are. To get more information on that, you're going to want to watch this video. And even if you're somebody who doesn't typically get scammed, this is a good video to send to maybe your older relative who is sort of more likely to get scammed by this sort of method. It's great to get this information out to people so that they don't end up losing money. It's so awful how the people who are most at risk are often the ones that are most likely to get taken advantage of. Then we talked a little bit about how these benefits are ending a lot sooner than many Canadians think. And as a result, it's so important that we're getting ready for this date when the benefits end by setting ourselves up with an emergency fund and paying off certain specific debts that will help us have a more healthy financial picture even if we're not receiving this benefit money. We found out that 39% of Canadians have no plan and they're sort of just pushing this off, and it's like, oh, this is a problem for future me. But I really hope that you're not one of the people that are thinking like this, because that's just setting yourself up to be even in more of a crunch than you are right now in about 4 months. So if you want to hear about my recommendations for setting yourself up so that you aren't in this position, check out that video. Then we talked about a brand new benefit that the federal government government was pushing through to help people start their own online businesses or to continue to support people who are doing sort of e-commerce businesses online. Despite the higher than usual unemployment numbers, many Canadians who have jobs are reporting that they're less and less satisfied working at them. This, plus a bunch of other things that we talked about more in that video, leads me to believe that there's going to be a huge push for e-commerce and online business in Canada as a result of these benefits that are actually going to pay some of your startup costs and pay for some of your operating costs right off the bat. If you've ever had the inkling that you want to be self-employed or start an online business, then you're going to want to check out that video to find out what these new benefits look like for you. The Canadian company Shopify, their stock shot up after this announcement, and it makes sense. If the Canadian government is going to subsidize more people to actually use a service like Shopify, then that's nothing but good for them. Then we talked about a new pilot project that the CRA is putting into place that allows you to chat with a live CRA agent to ask them your questions directly on the website. Before, it was just an automated bot where you could sort of only type very specific things to get your answer, whereas now it connected you really quickly to a CRA agent so you could not have to wait on the phone for hours and hours and hours. We tested it out and actually chatted with the CRA agent about the service, and I'd really recommend using this once they implement it, because again, this was only a pilot project, but it seems like it was pretty successful and that they may be implementing it soon to save you time instead of having to wait on the phones for hours and hours and hours. Then we covered a press conference from the Canadian government and Justin Trudeau, among other people, who are all talking in a very similar tone that sounds like they would be willing to extend these benefits if they go on longer than the plan that they already have in place. Trudeau says that no matter what, as long as this pandemic goes, we'll always have Canadians back. So who knows what that really means, but the language is a lot more strong than it used to be. So we could see them actually extending these benefits. And even if there is this CRB blackout that we've talked about in previous videos, that's going to happen around March of 2021, we'll see if they actually implement other benefits to sort of fill in that gap if our employment numbers are still down. And more recently, we talked about the new $200 top up to the childcare benefit from the Ontario government. They brought up their new budget, their new fiscal plan for the following year, and that was part of it, among other things. And even if you're not from Ontario, I'd recommend checking out this video because we talk about what every other province has done and how it compares to Ontario, and whether or not we think we should implement similar things across the board. And yesterday we talked about a new wealth tax that could be used to pay for all of this spending that the government's doing during COVID, so that working Canadians don't have to foot the bill for all of this CRB money. The NDP brought forward this idea, and they're sort of just trying to get people warmed up to it, but when we took a look at it, there were definitely some pros to it, and there were definitely some cons, and it didn't seem that it would cover the entirety of the spending, but we get into a lot more detail in it in that video, so you're going to want to check that out. But that's all the most important headlines and topics that we've covered over the past couple of weeks. If you want to learn more about any of those topics, make sure to just go down in the description and you can click those links for whatever videos interest you most. I really hope that this type of video helps you guys out. I know not everybody has the time to watch my 10 or 12 minute videos every single day, so I'm going to keep posting videos like this right before the new application for each CRB date so that you can know exactly what's been going on, if there have been any changes. So if you want to stay up to date like that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And while you're down there, it's especially important that today you click that like button, because with these videos, when you click that like button, it spreads the video to tons of people who could need these sort of updates. Even if they're not subscribed to the channel, they'll be able to see it just because you click that like button. Thanks so much for doing that, and thanks for watching. I really hope this video has helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.